Hello, everyone. I am coming to you today from New York, and I have with me Commandant of Cadets, Captain Arthur Ray, who has agreed to sit down and tell us a little bit about himself and what the job the Commandant of Cadets actually does and the responsibility he has. So welcome, Captain Ray, and thank you
Thank you.
for joining us.
Thank you. And I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you to the Parents Association for your generous donations and also for your undying support. We really appreciate that here in New London. And I know the Corps does as well. So I just wanted to mention that. As far as me, I'm a 1998 graduate of the Coast Guard Academy. I had a degree, or I finished here with a degree in operations research. I also graduated from the Naval Academy Prep School. Now we call it the CGAS program, the Coast Guard Academy Scholars Program. But back then we just called it NAPS. So I did that before, right after I finished up high school. So after my time at the Coast Guard Academy, I served on mostly ships. I have just short of 13 years sea time. So I started off on the Coast Guard cutter Jarvis, which is now decommissioned. It's one of our high endurance cutters. It was home ported in Honolulu, Hawaii. From there, I went to what we call Tactical Law Enforcement Team South, where I was a law enforcement detachment officer in charge, lead at 406 in Miami, Florida. I actually served on more Navy ships than I have Coast Guard ships. I've served on 6 Coast Guard ships, at least PCS transferred to, did TAD and a lot more. But from there, from Tactical Law Enforcement Team South, where I had my first opportunity to deploy overseas to the Persian Gulf for about 4 months, and then to Italy for 4 months as well in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. And before that actually happened. So from there, I went to be the operations officer on the Coast Guard cutter Valiant, which is at the time home ported in Miami, Florida. Now it's home ported in Mayport, Florida. From there, I then went back overseas for a year to the Persian Gulf. I was the commanding officer of the Coast Guard cutter Aquitnik, a 110-foot cutter. Again, that's forward deployed there. It's been forward deployed for quite some time. Then from there, I went to be the commanding officer of the Coast Guard cutter Kodiak Island, which is, I believe, now decommissioned, but at the time it was home ported in St. Petersburg, Florida. And from there, I went to Department of Homeland Security for a short amount of time, and then to the National Counterterrorism Center. They asked me if I can pass a polygraph, and I said yes. So off I went there. They needed a detailee from DHS, so I did that. That was a pretty good job. That place was, I guess, founded or had similarities to the show called 24. So I did that. That was a pretty cool job. And then from there, I went to be the commanding officer of the Coast Guard cutter Shamal, which at the time was home ported in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It was the USS Shamal, went to be the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Shamal, and then back to the USS Shamal. So it's still active. I forget where it's home ported out of, but it's a Navy PC, we call it, patrol craft. So I did that. Then I did some time at Coast Guard headquarters in Washington, D.C. at the Office of Counterterrorism. Then from there, I went to be the commanding officer of the Coast Guard cutter Vigorous, which is now home ported in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So I did that. It's a medium endurance cutter. And then from there, I went to a pretty cool special assignment at the White House, where I was in the National Security Council. I was the director of critical infrastructure policy, which you're probably trying to think, why did they put a Coast Guard officer there? I was trying to figure out the same thing, but they thought that a Coast Guard officer would be a good fit. So that was an excellent opportunity to work with various agencies across the federal government. I had so much experience. I've coordinated a few executive orders. I also had, again, many opportunities to do and brief the president a few times, the current president. And so all in all, it was a great job, great opportunity. From there, I went to be the executive assistant to our, at the time, Land Area Commander, our 3-star. Now he's the Deputy Commandant Operations at Coast Guard Headquarters. His name is Scott Bushman. He is, I believe, an 87 grad. I think so. No, I'm lying. He's a early 80s, I think 84 graduate. So sorry about that. He's probably be upset if he hears this. But anyway, good guy. But he is now it's our Land Area Commander, not to make it too confusing, is his classmate, Vice Admiral Pullen, which should be visiting us here sometime in the near future. So That's my career. As far as my life, my father was a master chief in the Coast Guard, so I have been in the Coast Guard most of my life, if not all my life. So he passed away, unfortunately, when I was Lieutenant JG, when I was stationed in Hawaii while on active duty. So it's a very long story. I also have 3 kids. I have 2 college-age children. One is about to turn 20 next month. He attends Center College in Danville, Kentucky. And then I have a daughter that's in George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia, which is Northern Virginia. I have my youngest daughter, who's 8, who lives in Centerville, Virginia. So I'm able to, when I get the chance to see them, knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. But I haven't seen them since August just because of the conditions we're going through right now. So that is it as far as my career and my personal life in a nutshell. Just to talk about the job, the job has been very demanding. I've been drinking water through a touchless fire hose since I arrived here in July. Many challenges, I think, with the Commandant Cadets. Well, just to backtrack just a little bit, our Coast Guard is such a small service, and I would say that for a few reasons. One, there's 2 cadets, second-class cadets, that one, his father is my classmate, graduated in 1998, and the other, his father is was my cadre. And so I just wanted to kind of show
How's
you
that
how
working out?
it's working out pretty. It was interesting because I didn't know about the one whose father was my cadre. I was walking down the passageway and I saw him and I said, "Hey, do you have a father that was in the Coast Guard?" And he goes, "Yes." And then we kind of just talked briefly, but I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable. But as you probably hear from some of your cadets, you always remember your cadres' names and how to spell them. And so when I saw it, I instantly almost braced up when I saw his name tag. But anyway, that's a long story. His father is a really good guy, very funny guy, and a lot of good stories, nothing but good things to say about him. But that's one of the points I like to mention to most cadets, that you never know when you make an impression on somebody's life. Hear that young gentleman, his father was my cadre, and I know all I remember is good stuff about him. So just, you never know those type of things. So you have to kind of watch the way you carry it in Chase Hall and after you leave our service, because again, we're so small. But getting back to my position, it's a very demanding position, especially with COVID. I guess in a normal college setting, I would be the dean of students. However, it's a little bit different than what people expect. So, and I'll talk about it briefly. Essentially, when you think of the Commandant of Cadets, you just think primarily about the Corps cadets, but the Commandant of Cadets portfolio actually is a lot larger. We have the Cadet Training Division, which has its own commander, which is the Commander Kevin Boyd. You have cadet, we have the Waterfront, which is actually a civilian job. It's Alan Kruger. His son is a 3rd-class cadet here at the Coast Guard Academy. He's been here for over a decade. I want to say 12 years. Good, awesome individual. And then our professional maritime studies, who is a commander, John McTamney. And then, which most people think is the number 2, but actually is 4 branches that are co-equal, is a commander, Maureen Johnson. Now, the cool thing that kind of speaks to what I mentioned before is that those 3 commanders I mentioned are all classmates. They graduated in 2001. And just to make it go full circle, when I was a senior, a first year at the Coast Guard Academy, they were freshmen. So it's just, again, getting back to how small the Coast Guard is, you kind of just bump into each other as you get older and more longer in the tooth. So, but in a nutshell, that's what we do here at the what we call C Division, the Commandant of Cadets division. So it's very confusing. Again, you have the branches, 4 branches, a lot of things going on. But again, we're very excited to be here. We have a very good staff, and I can't say it loud enough, but we really, really appreciate the support we get from the Parents Association and other our other external stakeholders. So thank
Well,
you.
we're happy to help. So give me, what are your interactions with the cadets, the direct interaction with cadets like?
So I tend to, periodically I'll definitely walk around and through Chase Hall and kind of keep my head in a few things down the passageways, usually later at night when I'm about to head back home. But I try to meet with the affinity groups. I tried to meet with the sporting teams during the IC season, the intercompany sports season. I would walk around and watch the cadets play IC. So Depends on the circumstances. I try not to just be someone they see when something is going wrong. I want to, so I try to be see things, you know, when they're having good times. Again, about the IC sports, and I think our superintendent does an awesome job of having some of the seniors up in quarters one. So I've done that. I want to say 3 or 4 times already. So we had some good experiences up there, and it was very fun. And
What do you mean by
actually,
quarter one?
quarters one, that's a good question. I'm sorry. A lot of terminology there. Quarters one is actually where, I'm about to say Vice Admiral, Rear Admiral Kelly, that's where he
Oh, that's
lives
his
on
house.
campus. It's his house
Oh,
on
okay.
campus.
See,
They
to
call
me,
it the
it's
Hill.
just the superintendent's house, but okay.
Yes. Yeah, quarters one. So I think there's, that's kind of embarrassed to say, I think it's 5 or 6 quarters up there, up on the hill, they call it. I never in a million years thought I would be living up there at one point, but I think sometime early next year I'll be moving to the hill. But they have some quarters up there. We have not only Admiral Kelly, our Command Master Chief, he lives there. Captain Simon, our Chief Medical Officer, lives there. And Captain Rick Wester, he lives there as Assistant Commandant of Cadets. And again, sometime in 2021, I'll be moving up to the hill, quote unquote.
Ah, that's very cool. I didn't know that either.
Yes.
So tell me a story about when you were at the academy.
Oh, you know, I can honestly say this. I didn't have a great time at the Coast Guard Academy, but when you look back at it, you know, I'm 44 years old. All I can remember is the good times. Story while I was at the academy. This is an interesting story. So I have a classmate who's a professor now here at the Coast Guard Academy. He actually retired, and he works, I believe, in naval architect. But he's a double E major, but he's an engineer essentially. His name is Thomas DiNucci. So here I was. I went to predominantly Black and brown, you know, Latino high school, all about hip hop, R&B. Never really listened to any other music genre. And at the time, we used to be able to play our music real loud before 10 minutes to go before formation. So he had this big radio, and he would play his music loud, and I would just walk out because I was just, you know, some young, immature kid. I ain't listening to anything but hip hop, didn't really care. And he did a very adult thing that I never forgot. I don't think he really remembers. And but he said, you know what, Art, I really want to hear your music, and I wish you just listened to mine. And I said, you know what, he got a point. And I sat there, I listened to his music. He was playing the Eagles.
I did not like the Eagles. Oh my God.
I know, I do, and I'm an Eagles fan just because of him. Like he was playing, he was playing New York Minute, and I grew up in New York City, so it kind of intrigued me. And then Hotel California, it's just like I just became an Eagles fan after that. So if it wasn't for Thomas DiNucci, I would not be an Eagles fan, and I am now. So you know, those moments like that kind of like stuck out. And those experiences I had at the academy, it taught me a lot. Then and still kind of lessons that I tried to, you know, display or talk to other cadets and other folks within the Coast Guard about, just listening and to other people's perspective. And I've grown an appreciation for that. So I appreciate him for doing that, especially
That's
at such a
awesome. That's a really good story.
young age.
Do you have any current concerns about the cadets? I mean, clearly with COVID, it's an issue. We're right in the middle of some stuff with
Yes.
the COVID, but uh, what are your thoughts about having to manage this both physically for the cadets, so that trying to keep them healthy, and their mental state
Yeah, I'm
with
glad you said
everything?
that. It's an excellent question. So that's the one thing that keeps me up at night is their mental health. Like I mentioned, I have a daughter that's a freshman at George Mason University. So, and I tried, you know, when the second class cadets were going through and they were about to become cadre, I just wanted them to keep in mind that they should lead with empathy and understand that some of these, you know, at the time they were high school seniors, they didn't have the proms like you did. They didn't have the normal graduation. They had a lot differently than a lot of folks did. And now they're here at the Coast Guard Academy. And we challenged them and all their sensors here. And I just said, hey, you just got to keep in mind that they had quite a challenging experience. and coming from high school, from their home into, or I think they call it persistent togetherness, coming to the Coast Guard Academy and dealing with our 200-week combined developmental program. So again, getting back to my point, the mental health is what we're really concerned, and it's the #1 priority by our superintendent, Admiral Kelly, security and well-being, specifically the mental health side. So we have a tremendous amount of resources here at the Coast Guard Academy in particular, and we offer to all Coast Guard members as well. So we make sure that they're alert and aware of these resources. We have some great folks that are willing to help them, but that's the #1 thing that keeps me up at night for certain.
Any specific concerns about Monroe, like the isolation cadets? Because quarantine cadets, they get to see each other, right, in Monroe? But isolation is isolation. They're in their room, that's it.
Correct. So what we do is every time a group goes into isolation and quarantine, we make sure we have a Teams call. I think it's on or about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's what the Assistant Commandant of Cadets does. And then she checks on them every Friday. So we had a lot of good luck in the beginning, but now we have a few folks in Monroe Hall, but we try to keep tabs on them. We make sure that they know if there's something comes up. Well, one, we have an actual cadet on duty out there, and then we try to keep tabs on and make sure they're in a good state.
At Monroe? You have a cadet at Monroe that's
I
on duty?
believe, I don't know if they reinvigorated. I thought the word was we're going to have a Monroe Hall duty officer. So if they don't have it right now, we're going to have that in the making. But I'm confident we do have one there now.
Okay.
But let me kind of pull back. But I know during the summer we did.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah. So
and then there wasn't anybody there for a long time, which was awesome.
That's an excellent point, because this is all new for us.
Right.
As they say, uncharted waters. We as an institution have never been through a global pandemic such as this before. So what we keep stopping to the message is to be patient with us. We're not going to get it right, especially the first time. So I think in the beginning, when we thought about Monroe Hall, that's when we got some bumps and bruises, and we're like, oh, we got to get a duty officer down there. We have to keep tabs on them. We have to do certain things. And it's people like yourself and other parents that brought that to our attention. So we made sure we made those course corrections almost immediately. So thank you for that.
I appreciate our working relationship, where I can call you and be like, hey, I just heard from some parents, and you jump right on it and rectify it, which is appreciated by me and all of the parents.
Wow, I appreciate it. I'm a parent too. Keep that in mind. So
I do. Yeah. I do. Biggest challenge right now?
Biggest challenge, just trying to think ahead. This is a dynamic environment. We don't know what is going to happen in the future. And I think our commandant said it best. So we're trying to produce flexible solutions. So when it comes
Superintendent said it best.
No, our commandant of the Coast Guard.
Schultz.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Schultz, Admiral Schultz, the commandant of the Coast Guard, when he talks to the big Coast Guard.
Yeah, you have to be really specific.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the commandant of the Coast Guard, when he puts out his messages, and he's really good at messaging. If you have an opportunity, but he talks about flexible solutions, and I think that's an awesome word combination. And it stays in my mind that our solutions, our plans have to be flexible. As the old saying goes, man plans, fate laughs, but our planning process has to be sound. We have a process in place, you and I, whereas you get some feedback from parents, you come to me, and then we adjust as necessary. We just don't put a plan out there and say, well, that's our plan. We're just gonna forget about it and we'll adjust the plan next semester. No, we make immediate, quick corrections. And that's why, although we don't like to admit it sometimes, and that's a little inside baseball, we need that feedback. We need it. We welcome it.
I am happy to provide it.
And we'll keep, no matter what happens, no matter what it is, it's at least my personality, and I try to ensure our staff here feel the same way, that we should be open to people giving us feedback, especially negative feedback. So,
as long as it's constructive.
Yeah, or any way you want to deliver it. If it's some strong, sometimes emotions run high. I mean, you have your children or your women and men here, and your young women and men, and if it's a concern, I just want it. If you want to deliver it kind of harshly, then hey, I grew up in New York City, I can take it. So let's go ahead and give it to me. I just want to know the rationale.
Right.
I want to, and this, again, I can't say it enough. Be patient with us. We're doing the best job we possibly can. We have some good folks here that really want and really care about the cadets as well.
Well, I have to say, I think you guys are doing a really good job.
Thank
There's no
you.
roadmap.
No,
There's a lot of trial and error. And
true.
when there's a misstep, it's corrected really quickly.
Thank you.
And what's most important is it's very clear to me in the dealings that I've had with you and your staff and the other folks at the academy that you truly do care about the cadets.
Oh, that's
They are a
definitely.
concern. It's more than a job for you guys.
Yeah.
You take it to heart, and that makes the parents, myself included, feel better. You
Yes.
know,
That's
so
it. Awesome.
thank you.
No worries.
I don't have any other questions. I mean, we
Oh.
talk pretty frequently anyway. So, but I think the parents will appreciate hearing and learning more about you.
Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
going to say that if any parents have any issues, they should come to me and I will escalate them to you.
Most definitely.
And I guess that's it. So, any parting words?
Nah, you hit it right in the head. I couldn't say any better than that. We keep in mind that, these young women and men are the future of our service. And there's one other point I wanted to mention here, and I think Admiral Kelly, especially for the class of 2024 during day one, mentioned it. But our place here at the Coast Guard Academy, specifically in New London, that is the home of our officer corps. So we have not only cadets here, we have our OCS, our officer candidate school folks here, our direct commission officers obviously come through here. So the home of our officer corps is here in New London at the Coast Guard Academy. So I just want to keep that in mind. We, again, understand wholeheartedly through our leadership development programs, et cetera, that these folks here are the future leaders of our service. So just wanted to mention that one last nugget of information.
So all leadership for Coast Guard is trained on those 103 acres.
Correct. And the Eagle.
And the Eagle, yeah, right.
Yes. Don't forget the Eagle.
Eagle.
Yeah, Captain Turtle will be upset with me. He's the class of 97. He's 1 year ahead of me.
It seems like a very small, not club would be the wrong word, but you guys all know each other. You were 1 year ahead, 1 year behind. It's pretty amazing. And it's exciting.
Too.
Well, it's exciting to know that our kids are going to be a part of that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which
they definitely
is
are.
Awesome.
Yeah, we served together in the Persian Gulf my second time. So we were like, we didn't live together, but we were sailing together for 13. Well, I did 13 months. I think he did just 12. So
when you say Persian Gulf, do you mean Bahrain?
Bahrain. So that's the Northern Arabian Gulf, or that's the Persian Gulf. Bahrain is a little island right off the coast of Saudi Arabia, and it's right in the Arabian Gulf, actually.
Right. There's I watched some of the interviews with the chiefs of the company chiefs and some other folks and the company officers, and a lot of them went through Bahrain. They mentioned it, and it seems to be like a consistent thread.
Yeah, you'll hear they call it PAT Force SWA. What that means is Patrol Forces Southwest Asia.
Okay.
So you may hear a cadet say that, oh, PAT Force SWA is Patrol Forces Southwest Asia. So in the beginning, it was they didn't call it PAT 4. We call it Contingency Operations 1 and 2. They had Patrol Forces Mediterranean. That's why I said I went to the Med. And then they had PAT Force SWA, which is Patrol Forces Southwest Asia. So we've been doing that since, I want to say 03. Yeah. So for a while, we've had that folks forward deployed out there, and you deploy out there.
Operation Desert Shield that turned into Storm.
Went from a lot of Freedom, Storm, Shield, Dawn. It just has, let's see, it's the
Shield and Storm they were the 80s. They were or something. That was really old.
I was in high school.
I'm dating. I'll be quiet. So it was the Freedom.
Operation Iraqi Freedom, but now it's changed. It's evolved since then. It's went through a few names so far. So,
so we're really all over the world.
Worldwide assignment. I've been to 34 different countries, most of them multiple times. I've traversed the Panama Canal 7 times.
Wow.
Across the pond here, Atlantic Ocean twice on a Dutch ship, and the Pacific a few times as well. So worldwide assignment. You can go everywhere. I've been everywhere since the West and East Pac. I was stationed in Hawaii, and then again across the Atlantic Ocean here. The only place I haven't been is the east side of the Arctic. I've been to the Alaska where before it was cool when you called it the deadliest catch, we just went up there and got There's some heavy seas up there. We got beat up for a long time. We did what we call search and rescue standby. So when those fishermen would go out and endure those heavy seas, and sometimes they would get in some trouble, and we would go pick them up. So, but you had to have a steel stomach.
Oh yeah.
Because
What do you
most of
do?
the
You
crew is
like
down.
tie yourself to the boat or something so you don't fall over?
You could do little tricks to be able to lock yourself into position. I think the weirdest part is, hopefully it's not too much information, but the winds kick up pretty well. So if you know a ship has a radar by the what swings on their ship moves, except some military ships have other things, but anyway, sometimes the wind would be picking up so much that the radar it couldn't spin. So
Oh wow.
so it was some tough times. It was, you just lock in, and the meal is always tomato soup with grilled cheese sandwiches when the seas are high. Guaranteed. Every
It
Coast
sounds
Guard
like you liked it though. Like it was
I,
an adventure.
that's the thing we try to push to cadets. Going out to sea is an adventure. No matter if they want to go to another specialty, guaranteed. My best friend, who's an engineer, civil engineer by trade, he only did one tour out at sea. You can ask him right now. He'll have sea stories, and he thinks fondly, no matter how much he wants to admit it, of his time out at sea, because it's the camaraderie, it's the adventure, it's the teamwork, it's us all working together to accomplish a mission. And that's what we teach at the Coast Guard Academy. You actually do that in practice on these ships. So we really try to encourage our young cadets to seek those opportunities to go out to sea. And I just think that's vitally important. But I think they kind of think about it in different ways. Oh, they're going to take away my, there's no internet out there. I mean, you get emails, so we're taking away my my social media stuff. So we try to talk about the fun times of going out at sea, but visiting those different countries and doing those cool things and interacting with the crew and getting those drug busts or migrant busts or sea interdiction, picking people up out of the water when you have to do that. And domestic and international fisheries are all cool things you do in the Coast Guard. And that's what makes our service very, very special.
I agree. Okay. On that note, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I guess that's it. So
That's it.
I'm to there.